Welcome to the 1000 Comics Podcast. It's your host, Matt Heath. How you doing, folks? I got a great show for you today. I got Laura Grant on the show. Great lady, great comedian. A little bit more about her in a second. Just want to say, I'm back here, back in Connecticut, guys. This is my first show back in Connecticut. I got a few more episodes I'm going to put out with New York Comics. I want to put out this episode first because Laura Grant, she's just great. She's going to be on my Ghostbusters comedy show coming up. It's a showcase of comedians dressed as Ghostbusters, all-lady Ghostbusters this year. At the comedy club called the Elbowroom in West Hartford, Saturday, November 6th. Really looking forward to that. We were sold out last year, and we're trying to raise money to fight cancer. Check out the Bust Out the Cancer Comedy group page on Facebook. This interview with Laura Grant, great stuff. Really cool comedian, but also just a great person. She's a musician. She brought her dog, Justice. Her dog, Justice, is also a guest on the program. She had her dog over here at the apartment. Cute little. I've always there's always been I feel like a stigma against German Shepherds, but this was the sweetest friggin' dog I've ever seen. But Laura, great. She's just a great guest. Very, very. I could just tell. Great heart. Just someone with a great heart. As of right now, the 1000 Comics Podcast is looking for sponsors. We've been sponsorless for a little while now, and I was going to say we were sponsored by Buddha. Do my daily Buddhist reflection, but I left that book. Back at that spot in New York. So, I feel lost without Buddha. I gotta bring him back. Gotta bring Buddha back into my life. Jesus too, if he wants to come in, I guess. Anyways, we talk a little bit about religion. We talk a little bit about everything in this upcoming podcast. So, hey, listen to this one because it is just a riveting conversation. Just a quick a footnote. This was a re-recording. Me and Laura recorded a whole episode. Something went wrong. The computer died. Something got unplugged somehow. The computer died, and the episode was just lost in the computer dying. So when I turned it back on, I said, "Laura, you want to stick around and record?" She was gung ho about it. So it was our second time through. So just be aware of that and enjoy. Enjoy this episode I did with Laura Grant. All right, welcome to the 1000 Comics Podcast. I'm sitting here with Laura Grant, and we just recorded an episode, but the whole thing just took
a shit.
It just shit the bed.
Yeah.
We recorded an entire hour, but we're going to do another hour here for you, folks.
Because we're dedicated.
We are dedicated. We want you guys to hear our voices talking about things. And I honestly, she was such a great guest that I don't care. I could talk to you for hours.
You touched my heart, Matt. And you know what? I feel the same way. So, let's do it. Are we going to rewind? What do you want to talk about all the things we talked about before? Or are we going to talk about new things? Well, now that we're all mellowed out, we're all we're comfortable.
Yeah.
Just so you know, we have moved from the kitchen into the couch area. We both have onesies on,
We're we got our footy pajamas. We're just in a pillow fort.
It almost like feels like that vibe, doesn't it? Like
it is. It is that exactly.
It's odd because I don't know if I felt like we had gold, but we definitely had something.
It was gold, Jerry. It was gold. It was gold. It's radio gold.
Now the only problem with this recording we're doing now is you gave me this gift on air, and now I get. Well, how about you just hand me the gift and I'll act like I'm surprised, like I don't know what it is.
This is going to be so anticlimactic because I don't know why I gave it to you. But you know what, Matt? I thought of you before I got here today, especially because obviously it came with me. And so I just wanted to give you a little token of my friendship, our new friendship. So here you go.
Why, thank you.
Happy friendship.
I've never done something that felt like such an act on this podcast. And this was the first time anyone has ever given me a gift.
You're saying that again.
On air.
I would like to thank the Academy.
And seriously, the first time anyone's ever given me a gift, and it's not even authentic.
Maybe we'll find that. That will be a bootleg.
The moment is not authentic.
It's not authentic. Everything is fake right now. But we are in our pillow fort, and my mom just made some Totinos for us. So.
Anyways, what you got me here was this pink wig.
Yes.
And it's got a lot of attachments, apparently.
It does.
And
as all pink wigs should.
Well, this time around is probably better because your dog here, and your dog is here, Justice, by the way.
Yes.
Say hey, say a little something into the mic, Justice.
No, don't say anything. I'm going to eat something else that's on the floor. What is that? Oh, it's a pink wig thing, just like before.
Oh, I'm sorry, I dropped it again.
See?
History is already repeating itself. There's a lot of attachments for this wig.
It's like a time warp.
Now, you gave me this wig, and I could not figure it out because I'm a dummy.
No, because it's a wig, and it's hard.
I could not figure out why you gave me this pink wig as a gift. But I realized that it's because we have the Ghostbusters comedy show.
We do.
It's going to be all-lady Ghostbusters, November 6th at the Elbowroom in West Hartford, 8 o'clock.
Yes.
Don't
be late.
Don't be late. Laura's going to be on the show. Mm-hmm. You're going to be dressed as a Ghostbuster? Something.
I will be dressed as something.
It's a Ghostbusters show, so there's going to be Ghostbusters.
Something related to Ghostbusters.
Lady Ghostbusters. And I was just going to be a regular Ghostbuster, but I guess I'm going to be a lady Ghostbuster now because I have this pink wig.
Yes.
And the pink is because it's a charity show.
Yes.
For breast cancer.
It's for getting rid of breast cancer.
For getting...
Yes.
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 To fight. That's why it's the Bust Out the Cancer comedy show.
Fighting.
We're fighting cancer.
And pink. I got the pink for you, honestly, because I thought it'd go well with your eyes. And also because I have one. And I feel like you and I have some kind of resemblance. I think it's the beard. But I think that if we both wore those...
Are you trying to match? Are we trying to match at the
I think we should.
show?
I think because we look so alike, people will be like... Is that Laura or is it Matt?
Well,
I can't tell.
I think you're insulting yourself by saying that we look alike.
I don't think so. I think it's fair. I think anyone who saw us, and some of you have, would know that we do resemble one another. I just shaved my beard yesterday, so I don't have it.
No!
But I still have the mustache, so I think
Stop being ridiculous.
Who's calling who ridiculous, sir? I don't know why I said that. I don't know why. Yeah, there's Justice. She said hi. She said, "Stop being ridiculous, Matthew."
Justice feels like that she didn't bark once the whole first recording, and
now she's going to dismantle this one somehow. She's well, you know what? She's a woman. Let your voice be heard.
Do you want to just let her leash go? I'm telling you, litter free in my apartment.
I think there are empty syringes around this apartment, and I'm
no, definitely not.
She is going to eat your apartment.
Does she have a chew toy of some kind?
Not up here, unfortunately. I didn't think about that.
I'm trying to think of something she could chew on.
How about a tin can?
No, that wouldn't be good.
No.
I'm trying to look around the apartment.
Bottle of Tide.
No.
You have a nice phonograph. Let's use that.
No.
Jaws.
An old shoe?
An old shoe? I don't think you want her to do that. I don't know what she's eating right now. It might be screws. No, it's a I don't know what that is.
Yeah, let me hold on to her for a minute.
Here, you hold on to her. Yeah,
I'll hold
go right
on to
ahead.
her. I think I'm going to change the whole trajectory.
See how I destroyed
this,
podcast today?
No, now I feel joy now because I got a dog on my lap.
It's very
I love
cute.
dogs.
I see that.
I really do. Justice is a German Shepherd,
yes, she
which
is.
we have not mentioned yet. We're
Yes.
mentioning it for the second time.
For the second time we will mention that her birthday is October 19th.
Really?
And there will be a party at the
You're one of those
Hadley.
people that throws birthday parties for your dog?
Not really. But she just likes her friends. So, and I
Yeah.
got a cake. I thought it was funny, so I bought a cake. It's in the freezer, and it's just for her. So we're gonna go to the South Hadley, Massachusetts dog park sometime around October 19th. So if you go there, you might see us. If you don't, sorry, no cake for you.
Okay.
Yeah. That's
No.
all. Yeah.
So, cake at a dog park. I'm digging.
Cake, dog cake. Can't eat it yourself.
All right, do you like to get Justice those, when you go to like Dairy Queen, they got like special ice cream like just for dogs?
I have done it once.
Yeah.
I'm not a big frequenter of the Dairy Queen.
Yeah.
Because I think I may be lactose intolerant, but yeah, she could have ice cream if she wants. She's like a good girl, so
Yeah.
we do that.
Do you think it's true that like all dogs can't eat chocolate, or is that
I do think
is that
so.
an urban myth?
No, it's true.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's true. I found out the hard way a long time ago.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry, Tommy. Sorry. Yeah, chocolate's not good. Nor are grapes and garlic and onions. I think are also bad. Even though I remember somebody who gave garlic to their dog every day and it didn't seem to bother. Are you okay?
Nah, I'm just picking up this dime off the floor that
Dime's
Justice
just gonna
wants
eat
to
your
eat.
money. Yeah, that's what dogs do. Actually, they eat your money. Yeah.
I typically I just leave money laying around everywhere, like on this.
In case I need a dime, I'm laying on the floor. I might need this dime.
Why don't I honestly?
What good
Why
is a
don't?
dime?
Do you think that they should just get rid of change completely?
Change is inevitable. I don't know.
Except from vending machines.
Yeah, I mean they want
That's
dollars.
that's a Stephen Wright joke.
Is it?
Change is inevitable except
for
from vending
vending
machines.
That's true. Now, is it?
No, but what I'm saying is like,
That's deep.
wouldn't it make sense? Because nothing really costs less than $1 anymore, right? Nothing. Except for like a gumball or whatever. But like,
Just wait.
but
Not yet.
so, but even a pack of gum like is
$1.29.
yeah.
I think so.
Right? So here's my idea. Like, and it's like change is also dirty and everything. It's like during this whole like COVID time, wouldn't it make sense if people just like took all their change? It says the government says, hey, change is going to be worthless by this date. So bring all your change to the bank. We will exchange it for cash. They take the government just takes all the change, melts it down. It's gone.
There
forever.
would be some people, they would say, that's a hoax. And if you bring your change to the bank for the government, they're going to put a chip in you and you're going to have the mark of the beast. And then you're going to definitely be Satan's when the rapture comes. You will have to stay and fight. And that's all I remember from the cult Bible study that I was in a long time ago.
So what I'm telling you is makes too much sense.
It does.
Because that's the kind of talk people do when something makes too much sense.
So much sense, you just blew my mind.
Really?
Yeah. Yes. Okay, I'll say my mind was blown before. When I entered this place, I thought, mind blown. Okay.
Why was your mind blown?
It's just awesome. Like the pillows for the fort and the you had a bunny onesie and a unicorn. It's just and the glitter and the disco ball. It's awesome.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
You're just making up stuff about my place now.
Am I?
Yeah.
Or am I telling the truth?
You're saying what you wish my place was. Is that? Are you describing your place? What is your place
when
look
we
like?
first met, you said something about how do I perceive things.
Right.
Maybe that's how I perceive this place.
Yeah.
Think about that.
I think you're trying to give me a whole new persona because you gave me this pink wig.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, you need a persona.
Yeah.
Everybody needs a persona.
I would picture a disco ball though too after I wore those bell bottoms yesterday at that party.
You wore bell bottoms to that
Yeah,
party?
if you look at that picture, you could clearly see that I'm wearing bell
Now
bottoms.
I am so jealous about that party because people were wearing bell bottoms. I mean, come on.
Yeah.
That's a party. Was anyone wearing mom jeans though, or a tube top?
No,
Because they should be. I hear
There-
it's coming back.
there was some nicely dressed ladies at the party though.
I only saw 2 ladies.
So
How many ladies
we're
were there?
speaking, of course, of this party that Cliff Mula threw
He did.
after a show. I went to the show at Elbowroom the other day or yesterday, and it was sold out. It was
Yeah.
like it was crazy. It was Cliff Mula, Mike Massaro,
Oh, all my favorites.
Pete Angelo headline.
Nice.
It was a pretty awesome show, and then Cliff threw a pretty cool party afterwards.
Cliff's a rad dude,
Yeah.
isn't he? He's kind of cool. I was a little bit jealous that I wasn't invited, but like I said, the cool Connecticut kids got to hang out. I was in Westfield
Yeah.
watching.
But you would have had an automatic invite if you had just come to the show.
I know.
You know?
But I like to be petty. It's part of my brand. No, I get it. I get it. I wasn't wearing bell bottoms. You know, that might have been part of the problem.
Right.
But I'm happy now that you've got a pink wig and bell bottoms. I think you have a new image, whether you like it or not.
Right.
This is you.
I feel like we need to talk about the movie, even though it's like it's a very old movie at this point. I want to have that conversation about what about Bob?
What about Bob?
Because we had that conversation before, and that is not it's been digitally deleted forever.
Really though, it's so sad.
Well, let me ask you something. That is, I've actually posed this question to my students before.
Oh, good. I'm like your student now. I like that. Can I call you Mr. Heath?
Do you think? And I actually do this as a bit as well. Do you think that people are more like animals or computers?
Oh wow, they're so flawed. I don't think we're like computers.
No.
Well, I guess if you were going to talk to a geek, which I am really not in terms of computers, I would then ask you, do you think they're Mac computers or do you think they're Microsoft?
Right.
You know, PCs. That makes a big difference apparently to some folks.
Okay.
Like if you're a Mac, I think you're supposed to be flawless.
Right.
Right. And if you're a PC, you get viruses all the time.
Right.
So.
I don't know if this is racist at all, but like when you say that, it's just I feel like Asian people are more like Macs and white people are more like PCs. Is that a racist thing to say?
I wasn't trying to say that, but now that you say it, you know, I can't disagree. I think I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Don't cancel me. I like.
Is that a
all
cancelable?
people. I like all people.
I mean that might be a leaning into like stereotypes.
Stereotypes.
Is
Well,
it?
Well, I don't know. I think I know a lot of white people who like Macs, but they're wannabes. But
Right.
no, I'm serious. I think that I think people more are like animals because we're made like animals,
Right.
Versus computers. I think we made computers.
Right.
God did not make computers.
Okay, so that's where I kind of lead into the conversation where it's like, well, God made man and man made computers.
Yes.
But it's like God made the animals too, so it's like we are the gods of computers, basically. So wouldn't that make us more like computers than like animals?
Isn't Bill Gates or like Woz? They're the gods of the computers.
Right.
I am the cemetery maggot of computers. I am not anywhere near computer godliness at all.
Right.
I can barely turn one on.
Okay.
So I don't know if man in general or
Right.
if there are just some people who could be gods with computers and the rest of us are just animals. I feel like I'm an animal.
Yeah, so the conversation always ends with like, I'm just messing with you. We're way too liquidy to be computers.
True. But we're just as toxic, it seems, sometimes.
Right.
But I love people. I don't want to say that, you know. See, I've already ruined your podcast today.
How do you
See,
you don't ruin
I
anything?
am going down a dark tunnel right now.
You feel like that?
Yes. I I love people.
No, we're gonna find. I think we're gonna find
Love
something
people.
even better recording the second time
You
around.
think? Well, you're very hopeful and optimistic.
Yeah.
That's good. You've worn me down.
There's always some kind of catharsis that comes from an hour-long
It's
conversation.
like therapy.
Yeah.
Except I didn't have to pay for it, so thank you.
And you told me that earlier.
Yeah.
So now this can lead into therapy. You like therapy. We were talking, and we were talking about what about Bob? And,
Yes.
And I was saying that the movie. I don't like therapy. I don't go to therapy, and sometimes when I think maybe I do need therapy, I'll watch a movie that kind of proves to me like, oh, I don't need therapy because therapists are just assholes. And that's when we started talking about the movie What About Bob?
Right. Well, yeah, he was a narcissist, Dr. Leo. He
Right.
was an extreme narcissist, right? And Bob was a dependent personality, right? So I don't know that all therapists, though many are narcissists. Not
Right.
going to lie, there are some terrible therapists out there. I don't recommend them. I won't say who they are, but you all know. You just have to try, see who you like, and eventually you'll run into a narcissistic therapist before you'll run into the best one. But I hope not. I hope you find the right one right away.
Wait, so you're saying the majority of therapists are
No,
narcissistic?
but some people have better luck than other people, and they might run into some narcissistic therapists.
Right.
Or, therapists who sleep during therapy. That too.
That happens too?
Oh, yeah. Therapists.
See, this is why I was saying that, like,
With attentional problems.
group therapy, when people do the thing, as we say, the secret society,
Yes.
when people do the thing, I think people benefit more from group therapy than they do from one-on-one therapy with a therapist, because a therapist has leverage. A therapist has the education. Therapist is getting paid. They always have leverage in the conversation. When you go to group therapy, you're all at the same level.
Right, and then I said, that thing that we do is a free group therapy, and the other group therapies can cost some money. But
you're saying if full-time therapists fall asleep during fucking therapy,
sometimes they do.
I've
met some.
that it's like that. You have to deal with the same thing in LA as people, or LA. I'm giving it another code name for that's my code. That's my code name for the thing. That's for the secret.
We're part of LA.
There are a lot of people in the secret society in LA.
It's not a bad thing because it's almost close, but it's not a healing place. Like LA, I don't know. I want to say nothing about LA right now, but it may not be a healing place. I don't know. Maybe it is. All that avocado toast, I think maybe. I don't know. Sunshine. How did I get there? So I think some group therapy, free or not, can be helpful when people need to keep each other accountable. Sorry.
Justice hates my tapestry that I got hanging on the wall.
She loves it. She wants to eat it. Oh, she's snuggling in it. Look at that.
Oh, okay.
She made it a hat. I think sometimes, though, if you've ever been to that secret thing, that LA thing that we do, that sometimes there are people in that group therapy who talk way too long and can't stop. And everybody starts looking at the wall. Some people leave. And sometimes those people need really solid individual attention. That's what I think.
Yeah.
And that's where individual therapy can be very helpful.
But I feel like when you go to the secret society thing, and you start hearing people like control the room, they're like it's just like I feel like they just need it more than you. It's like there's times too where it's like maybe this is the time that I'm here that I need to listen rather than be the one that's speaking, Yeah. Because I feel like there's always going to be opportunities to talk.
That's true. And sometimes, though, like in LA, we share things in a general way, right? And not supposed to be so specific and personal things, right?
Right.
Because you're not supposed to do that. I think it's just for your own privacy and also for your well-being. You shouldn't do that. You should spend that time with a special friend that may or may not be called a mentor or a sponsor.
Right.
So sometimes there's really personal stuff that you like, trauma stuff that you should probably work out with one person versus
Right.
a group. I think there's a place for both things, but whatever works for you is what I think is right.
And trauma is something I think we've both experienced in our lives, and I hate to ask you again because you've already told the story to me before, but you experienced you were in the World Trade Center on 9/11.
That's true. Yeah, it was a rough day, I guess,
Yeah.
right? She just pulled your curtains down.
That's fine.
So if you can't see this, but the dog is wearing curtains right now.
She actually looks really cute.
She looks adorable.
Yeah.
And now you're ready for the ball. I was working in the World Trade Center on the 104th of the South Tower on September 11th, 2001. I had just moved there in June and got the job in July, I think. I got the job the day I interviewed, so they really needed somebody desperately. I was just a clerk or like an assistant for a company called Aon. And I was really in New York because I was a professional musician and I was moving my career along. And you need a day job if you're moving to New York.
Right.
Because it's so expensive. So I don't know where we go from there, but I would say I got out. I think that's pretty obvious. And I'm really lucky. I do have a tattoo on my left arm that has, if you ever meet me, I hope you do, and come up and say hi. It has little initials all over this vine in my arm, and those are my coworkers who didn't make it. So I wear my heart on my sleeve. So we have trauma, right?
Right.
And I think the reason we got to that was because we were talking about Strawberry Fields.
Right.
We were in Central Park,
Yeah.
which is where they dedicated a space for John Lennon. And I don't know why we were even talking about that.
Well, we were talking about how everything is connected, and I was talking about how I am about to be teaching the book Catcher in the Rye.
Oh, right.
And this is now the third time we're having this conversation, actually, because this is what we're talking about
We're
at the line at the Funny Bone.
The Funny Bone.
That Holden's Carousel and the Dakota are
Yes.
only like a block away from each other, and right in the middle is Strawberry Fields.
Yes.
And of course, John Hinckley was the name of the guy that shot
Yes.
John Lennon.
No, wait a minute. That was a lie. Wait, didn't John Hinckley shoot
Mark
Ronald
David
Reagan?
Chapman.
Mark David Chapman
had the Catcher in the Rye.
There
in his
was
back
an
pocket.
error in the last podcast.
Now we're actually cleaning it up a little bit because I
Yeah.
think we referred to Mark David Chapman as John Hinckley.
I get all my assassins mixed up from time to time.
What's the deal with the fact that assassins all have 3 names?
It's a very good question. David Alan Grier also has 3 names, and he's not an assassin. So I challenge you and your theory. I don't know why. I think they like to...
So one time I got Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Neil deGrasse Tyson mixed up.
That's hard to do.
But it's just because they have 3 names.
Are you demented like me? Because that happens all the time.
I guess so.
It happens all the time. Yeah. But the Dakota building is where John, just in case people don't know this because they're too young,
Right.
where John Lennon used to live with Yoko Ono. And right outside of the Dakota building is where he was shot by this other person, Mr. Chapman.
Yes.
Right? And it was a terrible tragedy because John Lennon was this incredible music writer and singer and icon,
Right.
for a movement during war times, which ironically we're back at.
You know what? I was thinking about doing as a bit now about it. So I'm teaching Catcher in the Rye.
Yes.
I feel like Catcher in the Rye is like kryptonite for hippies. It's good in small doses, but if you carry it in your back pocket, you might shoot a hippie.
Footnote is that Mark David Chapman carried Catcher in the Rye. He was into Catcher in the Rye, right? He had millions of those books. He had like lots of them.
Did he have a bunch of copies of it?
I believe he did. Like in his house. He was fascinated by this whole
Was he fascinated, or was maybe he was related to a teacher who had like a ton of copies?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I'm making this up. I don't even know. But I think there's something like that. I'm very old, so I could have forgotten. But I think that there's some connection to that. Like he loved Holden Caulfield, or maybe it was a teacher.
Well, it's interesting that he was obsessed with that book because Holden is like this character who's like everyone's a phony.
Mm-hmm.
He's he thinks everyone is against him.
Exactly.
So
I'm just fixing something.
we're just.
This is part of your bookcase, so I just wanted to.
That's okay. She can chew on whatever she wants to chew on.
Thank you. Well, we're just here, and Justice is eating furniture while we speak. It's all good. I will owe you $20,000 for the furnishing
and
of
damages?
this apartment. Yes, I'm sure that I will. So just put it on my tab.
I'm so fine with it.
I'll
that,
work it
that
off.
You have no idea.
Yeah, good.
I love dogs. I feel like your dog being here with us is kind of like. Do you feel like she's what are those animals called that like people bring on planes and stuff?
She's definitely not a therapy animal. Yeah, she makes me very anxious all the time because she's a puppy, I think. But no, she's not an emotional support animal. She's here with me today because I think she was a little mad that we keep leaving her home, and I felt bad for her. So I'm really her emotional support animal today. I just didn't want to leave her alone. She gets depressed.
Right.
And then she eats my house. So she's here eating yours instead.
Okay.
So it worked out.
I'm with it.
It worked out, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Holden Caulfield. So this is all I remember from that book. The French ladies, when they say French, Franch, I think, they're talking about prostitutes, I think.
Right.
And that's all I remember from that book. Because it was 100 years ago when I read it.
You know what's funny? And it's again, everything's connected. And you were saying that you're pals with Whitney Allen, who's also going to be on the Ghostbusters show.
I can't wait.
Another comic, Rex Caesar, has been calling her Holden Caulfield because she always orders a rum and coke.
More connections. There's no mistakes in this world. It's never a coincidence.
Nothing's an accident.
Yeah, it's a God thing, as we say in L.A. Some people say in L.A.
Right.
It's a God thing.
I thought you were talking about the actual LA. I forgot that we're referring to the secret society.
Well, you're newer. I haven't shown you
LA.
the handshake yet, so yeah, but I will. You'll know all of those things.
Yeah.
I promise you, son. I'm just kidding. Yeah. So, what else do we know about Catcher in the Rye?
No, we don't have to keep talking about Catcher in the Rye, but let's talk more about how you went to New York to be a musician. You were there in New York for the most horrific time period in New York of the last
prior to COVID.
Prior to COVID,
yes.
But like I don't know, wouldn't you say that 9/11 was a little worse than COVID?
No.
Really? And you were there in the building.
Yeah, I mean it was horrifying, and it definitely changed my life, and I lost a lot of friends.
Yeah.
But COVID, the scores of people who have died worldwide from COVID way outnumber the number of people who died in 9/11. And the thing is that whether or not 9/11 was preventable, and I have my own feelings, which I won't go into.
Right.
COVID is totally preventable, and yet there are people walking around who are deciding that for their own personal freedom, they're not going to get vaccinated and they're going to die. Right. So I think that's a huge tragedy.
Right. And this is something you are vocal about, not only here, but in your act as well.
Yeah, because, it's funnier in my act. I just want to put that out there that I'm not this serious in my act.
Yeah.
It's not really an act, it's me. But yeah, there are some real issues with COVID. We've lost a lot of people, I think, in my family and in my friend circle, in our community. It's not a joke.
Right.
And I don't want people to die, So
and you started doing comedy right in the middle of the pandemic. You've been doing comedy about a year now, and
a little more. Yeah.
And I'm still wondering though, like in the midst of like everything like falling apart, you're like, now's the time to follow my dream.
So now I'm going to tell the story again, and we're going to act like it's a new story.
It's still a new story to the audience.
That's right. So I live in Massachusetts, in Western Massachusetts, and there's a great comedy production company called Comedy as a Weapon, and it's headed by Timothy Lovett and Kim DeShields. And when the quarantine started, there were no more live shows, and having been encouraged to do an open mic at Bishop's one time in Northampton by Timothy Lovett.
Right.
Timothy and I became, and I'll just call him Tim. I think he's okay with that. We became friends.
Right.
And I said to him, wow, I have a history of broadcasting. we should do something so that you can keep doing comedy and keep people entertained, because this is a really, pardon my French, shitty time for people, and what more could we use but laughter?
I just gotta say, I love the Northampton scene of comedy. I feel like I don't visit it enough.
It's an interesting place.
You know, and I feel like it's very like I feel like you're there. It's like looking at a Robert Crumb comic. You know what I mean? Where it's like it's very hippie, like in Northampton.
Well, you know what they say.
What? What do they say?
I was just going to walk away, but well, they call Northampton Lesbianville.
Oh,
Lesbianville, USA, because I forget how they say it, so I'm probably going to murder this, but they say Northampton, where the coffee is strong and the women are stronger.
oh
Maybe
okay.
the women just don't want men. I don't know what it is, but it's just kind of very open and affirming.
Right.
There's also, it used to be a psychiatric state hospital that closed down, I think it was in the 90s, and just let everybody out. So it has a very unique flavor.
Really?
It's a groovy place. It's more of a white place.
When you say groovy, it's like I
very,
totally have
yeah.
you totally get
It's
what
like
I'm
a
saying with the
hippie thing.
Robert Crumb thing.
Yeah.
Right? Like if I'm going to go up to Northampton for a show,
Yeah.
I got to throw on those bell bottoms.
You
right?
know you do, right? You have to. Or a skirt. And a man
What is it
bun.
with you that you keep trying to influence me to dress as a woman?
I'm just trying to help you. Because there's a woman inside.
You think so?
I see her. I see you.
What? Why do you say that?
Don't we all have a woman inside?
um,
Or maybe we came from being inside a woman.
that's true.
I'm going to leave that alone. I didn't mean to say it that way.
I mean,
I didn't come.
you know what I found really funny?
I
I was
couldn't
just
think,
listening
yeah.
to the Norm Macdonald interview with Caitlyn Jenner.
Oh,
And it's an hour-long interview. He
It's
does
gotta
it
be great.
with it. And there's a part where, they're talking about driving race cars. And he goes, you ever driven a race car before? And she goes, yeah, have you? And he goes, he's like, I never drive. Sometimes I feel like I'm a brave person trapped in a coward's body.
I love Norman McDonald.
Norm,
I'm sad that he's gone.
I am too. I haven't had a chance to talk to anybody about him passing on my podcast
Well, we can
yet.
do that
Were
now.
you were a big Norm Macdonald fan as well?
Yes, and in my household right now, I think after he passed away, we've just been watching straight YouTube of him.
Really?
Yeah,
Me too.
Obsessively.
And you know what's great? I've been watching a lot of his YouTube clips, and I realize on a lot of it, it's like, this is all clean. I can show
Yeah.
this to my students, and I have been.
Yeah.
I've showed like a lot of his Conan stuff is just like very clean, and you could just play it for kids, and
Absolutely.
he doesn't swear at all, or
Sometimes he doesn't even use words.
Yeah.
Like he says, like, I'm just here, and that's like a Norm Macdonald thing. And I'm like, how do you can't steal those jokes
Yeah.
because it's just him, being himself.
Right.
Yeah, he was a gem.
Well, and he, of course, passed away of cancer, which we
Yes.
are fighting.
Not the same kind,
Not the same kind, but
but yeah, fuck cancer. Really.
but we fight. I'm with this whole group page that I have, the
Yeah.
Bust Out the Cancer group page. I want people to feel, if for all of you out there, if you want to get onto this Bust Out the Cancer group page, and you have, people know people that have a story that need help.
do it.
Put it on there, and we'll have these stories on there for people
Support.
to donate and support.
The GoFundMe's, do it. Bring
Because
it.
we want the GoFundMe's on there so they can pay
Yeah.
the people with cancer. That's who we want to help, right?
Because at the end of the day, we really are all connected. So, like, if one person has cancer, I hate to say it like this, but we all do. Because society loses people fighting. It's traumatic. It's hard. And families, both of my biological parents and one of my adopted parents died from cancer.
Right.
And it's,
Sorry to hear that.
yeah, it's just happening in this world. So I feel like we all need to take care of each other. And this is what you've done with that page and what you're doing with this effort means so much to me. I think it's really important.
Right.
I got serious again, didn't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get so weird.
That's okay. I think it's better that we're getting deeper this second
I think
time
we're getting
around.
very close, Matt.
Yeah.
I feel like I could call you Matt
Yeah.
now. Yeah.
I feel like the people that aren't close with me call it. Matthew is usually the closer.
Matt,
one,
what
I
do you
would
want
say.
me to call you?
You call me whatever you want.
Can I call you Pooh Bear? Can I call you
Pooh Bear?
Mr. Unicorn for your onesie that you're wearing? Pink? Can I call you Pink Unicorn?
Wow.
Because you have a wig.
You feel very comfortable here with me in this.
I do. I'm very comfortable.
In this dwelling.
I have nothing to hide.
Let's talk about a little bit about your show, the one that's on your T-shirt there.
Oh.
I don't think we've talked about
Right.
that at all
This
yet.
was part of that story, right? So during the quarantine, we got sidetracked. Matt, how do you do that to me all the time? You just sidetrack the whole story, make it about something else. I don't know. Squirrel. Right. So I told Tim, I said, you should do a show. We should do something. And somehow along the way, it became an interview show of comedians and interesting people, and we called it the Quarantined Call-In Show. And we did it on Facebook Live, and now you can find it on YouTube and maybe some other places. I know we were on public access channels for some spots in Massachusetts. But we went, and there are more than 50 interviews of all kinds of people, and mostly comedians, and iconic comedians.
Right. You were listing them off before. I kind of want to hear them again.
Amazing. We had Alonzo Bowden, we had Robin Montague, we had the famous Sylvia Traymore Morrison. We had, who else did we have? We had Kathy Ladman, one of my favorites, Wendy Liebman. We had Chanel Ali, Aaron Jackson, Nikki Sunshine. The list goes on and on. Maria Bamford. And we also had like big 90s R&B and hip hop artists. Like, one of my favorite groups was En Vogue and still is. And Dawn Robinson, one of the singers from there, was on our show. Garfield Bright from Shy was on there. We had all these people. It was wonderful. And so with that, I got all this great advice from these amazing comedians. And I was like, some people were saying to me, like, you should try. And then live comedy came back last September in 2020, a little bit, right? We could do it outside. So I ended up opening a show last minute. Just got a phone call a week before this show. We had Damon Williams coming from Chicago. And Kim DeShields calls me and says, you should have 5 minutes. And I was like, okay. So I did the 5 minutes. And
this is your origin. This is how you
it really
started as a stand-up.
Yeah. And it was amazing and exhilarating. And I took some classes at the off-mic comedy school with Latisse Mitchell and then Erica Schweitzer. And I loved it so much that I ended up doing these shows during COVID that were bizarre, like at a fairgrounds in, I think it was Greenfield, Massachusetts, standing on a wagon with a microphone, and all the cars were there.
Right.
And they'd honk at you if they thought you were funny.
And you did one of these outdoor car shows, which I just find that fascinating.
It was strange. It was very strange. But it was fun. It was exposure. It was I get to meet Ange Buxton there, and I got to meet Logan Kelly.
Right.
And some other very funny people. Tom Roche was there. And,
right.
I just got to meet more and more comedians, and I'm a huge fan of comedy anyway. So now I've been doing shows for a little while, and it's really fun.
You mentioned last time Artie. How do you know Artie Robb?
Artie Robb came on the show and was very close with Kim DeShields. Kim DeShields has been around for a long time. She's kind of an amazing comedian.
Yeah.
She was on Nickelodeon's Funniest Moms, I
really?
think. And yeah, she's been around. She's awesome. She was a coach for me, really. She's still a very good friend of mine. And Artie came on, and the next thing you know, like, I'm watching Artie, and he's giving me tips, and we go out to dinner sometimes, and he helps me work on some of my jokes.
Really?
He's a great influence for me.
Oh, I didn't realize you guys were that close.
Yeah.
And I just thought that it was crazy that you know Artie like that, because the first time I ever hosted a show was when I was 21 years old.
Yeah.
And it was for Artie Robb. He headlined. You know what was funny that happened that night? Is he still has the same opener, and whoever goes to bring him up always has to say, and coming to the stage, a 6 foot tall white man.
That's right, because of this,
that's what he wants as an introduction.
Yeah.
And the first time I ever hosted a show, I fucked up his introduction. I thought he was messing with me. I said, he was like, no, man, you really messed up my open. And I started to learn.
Here's
You
a
know, like,
secret.
so somebody-
Artie is black.
So-
Just so everybody knows, he's black.
Somebody asks you to bring them up a certain way. Do it the way they asked you to. It's like it might sound like they're joking,
Yeah.
but no, it might be a setup for a joke. Anyways, that show was on Halloween,
Oh no.
and I was wearing a Ghostbusters tie that night,
You were.
and we
Full
are
circle.
full circle. We're doing our Ghostbusters show.
We were meant to do this,
Yeah.
and that all was the foreshadowing that we didn't notice.
Yeah.
But see, there you go. Artie Robb is also a part of this thing, this Ghostbusters connection. Yeah, he's amazing.
He is.
So yeah, and like we had Philip. I just remember we had Philip Anthony on our show. Just so many good people, and everyone connected to Artie. And Erica Nolan, who also is connected to Artie. So I've been so blessed to just get on shows. People putting me up on Erica let me go up on Project Hilarious, the Funny Girl Takeover at the Funny Bone a little while ago.
Right.
I've been with Darren Rivera at Mohegan Sun Comics Roadhouse.
Darren Rivera did a guest spot on the last Ghostbusters show.
He did.
He did.
See?
He was the only person not in costume.
We are all connected.
We are. You know something that's funny about that Ghostbusters tie. What happened to it? And you just mentioned the Funny Bone. I was working as a fry cook at the Funny Bone, and Leslie Jones headlined.
I was at that show.
You were at that show, really?
Yep. I said
This will be how we know exactly you were at that show.
Yes.
You know what Leslie Jones did? She went in the audience, she saw a bald guy, and she said, "I'm really attracted to bald men,"
She
and then
did.
started licking his bald
She
head.
sure did.
So yes, I don't know if she does that all the
came out
time, but I'm
screaming.
assuming that this is the same show.
She did it, and she came out in sweatpants, and her hair was crazy, and she was so fucking amazing. Sorry, I said the fuck word. She was amazing.
Yeah.
She is one of my favorites.
I gave her that Ghostbusters tie as a gift
did?
because there's something unique about that tie. The ghost in the X had instead of like Ghostbusters 2 holding up the peace sign,
Yeah.
he was holding up the 3.
Ah.
Now I had gotten that tie long before her Ghostbusters movie
I was gonna
had come
say.
out. She was the third one, so I was like, I had to give her that tie.
That's
as a
awesome.
gift.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. The
I also
connection.
gave her a script for a play that I wrote, and she mailed it back to me saying she can't read scripts.
Yeah.
Her lawyer insists she can't read
She
any.
cannot read any scripts
any
not
scripts.
brought by the lawyer. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
which bummed me out.
It sucks. It does suck.
But, yeah, but I got a nice letter for her wishing me well with all my creative endeavors. But we were also talking about how you really enjoy the Lady Ghostbuster movie.
I do.
Is it your favorite amongst the movies?
You know, it's really hard to say because I haven't watched all of the Ghostbuster movies, but I would have to say because Leslie Jones is in that movie, it probably would be.
Really?
It probably would be. And Kate McKinnon. And Melissa McCarthy.
Yes.
I mean, come on.
So we were talking about how...
Wait, wasn't Kristen Wiig in that movie?
Yes, she is.
She was. Was it Kate McKinnon or Kristen? Now I can't forget.
Kate McKinnon and Kristen
And
Wiig.
Kristen and Melissa.
And Melissa McCarthy.
And there were 4?
And Leslie Jones.
Oh, I thought there
It was
were
the 4 of them.
There's 4. That's right.
Yes.
Thank you for helping. I'm an old lady.
Yes.
That's awesome.
That's okay.
Yeah, I think that would have to be my favorite because, like, all of those women are huge comics. They're amazing.
Right.
So I would say.
And I know it sounds... it's probably not going to sound right because I'm the one producing this Lady Ghostbusters stand-up show, but I do... The problem that I have with the Lady Ghostbusters...
You know what I really love, Matt? You keep saying lady, and I feel so seen.
How should I refer to it?
I mean, that's wonderful.
If I refer to it as Ghostbusters, people are going to think I'm talking about the original Ghostbusters, so
Why
I
would
have
they?
to call it something else.
How about Vagina Ghostbusters?
So, anyways, Vagina Ghostbusters. Here's my issue with it.
Yes.
I like the movie for what it is.
Okay.
But it is not, in the classical sense, a comedy.
Right.
Like
Because
you look back at how comedies for hundreds of years, Shakespeare, a comedy is a romance while a tragedy is a tragedy. Somebody dies in a tragedy.
yes.
People unite in romance in a comedy.
Right.
So the original Ghostbusters film, it's a romance between Bill Murray's character and Sigourney Weaver's character.
True.
Now there's the romance there. Now I feel like the female Ghostbuster movie is
Vagina Ghostbuster.
The Vagina Ghostbuster movie.
Thank you.
Is just too lowbrow for me. It's there's fart jokes in there.
Yeah.
It's all stuff like, instead of a film, it's more like an hour and a half Saturday Night Live sketch.
And what's wrong with that, I ask you? And I said...
That's why I said I like it for what it is.
Yes. And I said that the romance is there. It's the romance between the director and the audience.
Right. Much like a stand-up show is the romance between a comedian and the audience.
And that's why I always say to the crowd, to the audience, my paramour, I always say that I love you, because I do.
Yeah?
It's love. Yeah, it's all about love, right?
You've never hated a crowd before?
No. I have hated moments.
Yeah.
I have been disappointed. I'm trying to work on my language here. I have hated moments.
Right.
But I haven't hated crowds. Unless they're the Proud Boys. Then I kind of do. Or, Nazis. Not a fan.
Okay.
But
I wouldn't imagine you would go to a club or a show if you knew it was all Nazis in the audience.
I would not. Knowingly, yes. I would not knowingly. Though I have been at clubs where later I found out the Proud Boys were there.
Right.
So that wasn't so fun. But, I love people, so everybody has problems. Everybody has imperfections. As long as you're not trying to hurt me or somebody that I love, you're fine.
Right.
If you have a philosophy that requires you to want to hate or kill people, I have a problem with that.
Right.
But I've never hated a crowd. I thought that sometimes maybe I wasn't up to speed for the crowd. Maybe it was the wrong crowd. Maybe it wasn't them. It was me. It was usually me. But yeah, no, haven't hated crowds. Have you hated crowds?
This is why I'm in the secret society.
Yes.
I think I've realized that that love, I can find love in a room so much easier if I'm not inhibited by substances.
Oh, that's so true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because if you aren't yourself, you can't love. You can't feel anything.
Oh, you can't love other people if you don't have love for yourself,
No,
right?
Right. And in order to love yourself, you have to be present, right? To know who you are.
You know what I really like you said in the group chat for the Ghostbuster show is that joke you... I don't know if it was it wasn't me that said it or was it you that said it.
Maybe
it was
it's
just
probably
like,
something you said.
It's kind of, but I feel like we saw eye to eye on this giant costume. It was instead of no, you said you said we should just have one Ghostbuster costume there that we all change in and out of.
Yes.
To show unity of some kind.
Was unity. I will have to admit to you that wasn't my original idea. That was somebody else's. But I said it because they didn't want to. But I do think that it should be that way. That we should all get into this costume together.
Right.
And either we...
So that's what I said. It should be a giant costume that we all get in at the same time.
And when somebody speaks, they're the head and everybody else is a body part.
Right.
And then, so that changes around. I think it would have been hard because of COVID.
Nah.
I think.
I don't think we could get away with it.
So what I think
Even we're all vaccinated, though, on the show.
We are, but there can be breakthrough infections.
Yeah.
We're taking risks all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But, I do think that maybe it should just be a great big costume that fits everybody. It won't fit me. It'll be like a tent for me, and I'll shroud myself in it. But that we each use it and get in and out of it, because I think it's funny to watch people get undressed. I just think it's so
There's
funny.
something vaudevillian about us, like, you get off stage, you take off the costume,
and
somebody else gets into it. Yeah, there's music while the whole thing's happening.
Yeah,
I kind of like
because I remember, I used to be in these shows that were dance shows, and we used to have to strip down behind. We were on a cruise ship, and it was a tiny little corridor. It wasn't even really a dressing room, and it was men, women, everybody, and we were in these like spandex costumes that we kept having to change in and out of because it was CNC Music Factory music. And I just remember at times you just see a tit, or you'd see a penis, and you just like ignored it and just did it, and it was so funny. Like when I'd stop and think about what I was doing for 30 seconds, like I was just in there sweating with some dude who was trying to keep his balls in his spandex, and I was trying to get my teeny little tits into one and make sure nothing was backwards. It was hilarious. And then we went out and showed everybody what our spandex looked like. It was crazy. It was crazy.
All right. Now that you put it like this, I'm starting to like the idea of us changing in and out.
We're not doing
of our
spandex.
costume.
I am against
There's
spandex.
something like real show business about
yeah,
this.
no titties and no penises. Well, it's all, as you said, ladies.
Yeah.
So
I'm going to have to have... do you think I should have a fake vagina of some kind?
No, I think that would be appropriation. Don't appropriate the vag.
So, but how is the wig not appropriating?
There are men with long pink hair. Are there not?
Okay.
Oh, she's really tearing this up.
That's fine.
Don't mind
She's
it.
fine.
I'll buy you new drapery. She's pulling.
Oh,
if
she's
only you could
really
see
eating
this.
it.
She loves it. Yeah, she's having a good time.
She's
Thanks for the toys.
She's like for some reason, you know that Carole King album, Tapestry?
Oh, right, it's a tapestry.
I just imagine Justice chasing around the cat on that album.
Oh, yeah, that would be her. She likes to put her mouth around the cat's neck.
Really?
Yeah,
she does.
She does that with my cat.
Ooh.
Yeah, and
That's
the
not
cat
good.
goes, ah, and then it stops. Then I yell at somebody and it's over. She licks her. It's like a groom. It's terrible. This is trigger warning right now. Kind of a grooming process. The dog corners the cat. The cat lays there coyly. Coyly. Not coyly, but C-O-Y-L-Y.
Right.
Coyly. And then the dog licks her from head to toe. And then after that, the dog puts her teeth around the cat's head. And then the cat protests.
Ugh.
It's just a weird... It's a game.
Sounds like you got a lot going on at your place over there.
It's a game. Yeah. Yeah. It's kind of like courting. It's courtship.
Yeah. Did you have any pets growing up?
Yes.
You did?
Always.
Yeah.
Yes. Always had a dog or a cat or something.
I don't think we touched on it. Yeah, but you grew up in Florida.
Mostly. Yeah. Mostly. In the South.
Yeah.
Where they paddled us at school.
Did they really?
Different time. Yeah, I know. Everybody's so surprised by it. But again.
Did you go to religious school?
No.
Really?
If you went to school in the South, okay, here, all my old folks, if you went to school during the 70s, 80s in the South, you got paddled by the dean, you got paddled by your teachers.
So was this like elementary school, high school?
All the way through.
Really?
Yeah, all the way through.
Did you get paddled in high school?
Oh, yeah, you could get paddled. You would get suspended more often.
Really?
I mean, I was smoking in the parking lot and drinking vodka, and I didn't get paddled then. They just wanted me to go away. So they kept me only long enough to graduate me.
I just find it so... The whole, like, spanking thing. Like,
it's crazy. Do you know what they used to do?
I just think that there's, like... It's just like corporal punishment, I don't know. Like, for some reason, it's like... to me, like, it makes more sense, like, if, like, nuns liked it. It was just like... Did men paddle you?
Yes.
Because I feel like there's something weirdly sexual about that.
Let me tell you how it went down. And by the way, any of you that went to school in the South and know what I'm talking about, please make comments on this page underneath the podcast so that Matt knows that this really happened. So when I was in, like, let's say middle school, what they would do is they would bargain with you. They'd say, okay, that offense will cost you 3 whacks or 2 days of detention and maybe 1 whack. And what they would do is you'd decide, and then they would have you bend over a chair, and they would get a paddle, and then they would make you start reciting the Pledge of Allegiance.
Right.
And every time, as you were pledging allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, you were getting whacks. Big ones.
Yeah.
So it'd be like, I pledge allegiance to the flag!
Really?
Yeah, it was awful. So think about the processing and the conditioning that went on for America, because, the South is truly the seat of America, and what we all grew up with.
Do you have weird feelings about the Pledge of Allegiance now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Maybe not because of that, but yes. Also, they played the Star Spangled Banner or God Bless America every day on the loudspeakers.
Right.
Even though I know y'all up here are all about separation of church and state,
Right.
we did not have that in our schools in Florida or Louisiana or anywhere else.
That's so odd to me, though, that happened when you were a kid.
Yep.
You experienced 9/11 in the World Trade Center.
Agreed.
The grief that comes with that. And now, after 9/11, everyone was so hyper-patriotic.
Oh, yeah. I kind of went crazy about that.
What did you think of all that?
Well, so I went to Florida where nobody, I felt like at the time, knew what it would be like to go through it.
Right.
And I went to the grocery store one day, which was a bad idea. And they had all these red, white, and blue cupcakes out. It was patriotism. Everybody's wearing a flag lapel pin. And everybody's being nasty to my Muslim friends. And one day, I was in Publix, those of you who live in Florida, or Mississippi, or South Carolina, or Louisiana, Texas, I don't know. I saw the cupcake display. I saw some lady, I don't know why she triggered me. She had helmet hair, which is very popular in the South at that time. And I threw the table of cupcakes over onto the floor, and I said something, and then I went out. I got
Really?
Angry. Yeah, I couldn't tolerate it. And I had lots of problems. I was so angry. Actually, I was preaching. It was interesting because I would tell my story for the first year or so. I kind of did my own therapy because I couldn't find a therapist for a while. And I would go to like churches, mosques, synagogues, libraries, all kinds of places. And I would tell my story and I would preach peace.
You're kind of like someone who's looked for spirituality in like a lot of different places.
Well, when it happened to me, when 9/11 happened and I was under a truck, when the second plane came, I didn't know what it was. It was just really loud in the city and I was running on Wall Street. So there was this loud, shaky sound. It sounded like we were going to get blown up. And I got under a truck and I prayed. And I said, just make sure that I can, if I'm alive after this, let me run. And also, I forgive everybody. I just forgive everybody. Nobody knows what they're doing. They don't understand what they're doing. I didn't know it was terrorism yet. And even if it was, I forgave them. I just didn't want any more people to die. And then obviously I lived and I kept running. And there's a whole story. I won't bore you with it today, but there's a whole story. I met a stranger. It was like a very crazy experience. His name is Steve Fenn. We both survived together. He is a Vietnam veteran, and he somebody that worked on the floor of Wall Street. We were complete strangers, and we're friends. And we still call each other every so often.
Now, did you leave the city immediately?
No,
or?
I had to stay. They actually pulled us back. It was a Tuesday, 9/11, and Thursday they had us come to the Grand Central Station Hyatt, which I don't know if you know, but it's all glass. Not a good idea. And they made us have a meeting there to try to discuss who was missing and who wasn't. Because I had seen a lot of the last people. Like I was one of the people who saw the last people to survive. I couldn't sleep for like 2 weeks, and I started drinking again. I had not been drinking. I was very serious about my music career, and then I just kind of went over.
Right.
And so I was drinking heavily, and I could not sleep for 2 weeks. So they put me on an Amtrak train, me and my kitty cat, and we rode all the way back to Florida to be with my family. So
on a
my
train,
family members, on a train. I didn't sleep that whole time. I drank gin and tonics. I had a lot of gin and tonics, and anyone who called me, I just was ranting and ranting and ranting and crazy. I was pretty crazy.
I mean,
yeah,
but understandably
super
crazy.
Super crazy.
I'm sure everyone understood why.
I was hard to live with. Let's just put it that way. Yeah. Yeah. But here I am using my crazy for good to fight breast cancer.
Thank you so much for telling me your story
of course.
and
that
aspect of your life. But before we end, let's just get back to the comedy aspect.
Yes.
Is there anything you want to plug or promote, put out there?
Support live comedy, first of all. We're all in this together. Support Mo Green. Support Comedy as a Weapon. Support Laughing Latinos. Support Connecticut Comedy. EMT. I can't think of all the other names of the companies. OMG. All of live comedy, because it's something that we lost precious, and it was very precious that we lost for a good year. And it feels so good to be out. Audience is ready to hear people. We need to work. I have shows coming up. I can't remember most of them right now, but I can remember that on November 6th, we are doing a Ghostbusters themed fundraiser to bust out breast cancer, right? Is that what I said? Did I
Yes,
say that
yes.
right? With me and you and Whitney Allen.
Whitney Allen.
And who else?
And who else is... Joy Nystrom
Joy,
is going to be there.
Very funny person.
Kate Malloy, I just added to the show.
Kate is super funny.
Rex Caesar is going to be our Marshmallow Man bouncer.
He does have a penis.
But he's just the bouncer.
Okay.
But he's a Marshmallow Man, so he's going to do some
very funny
time,
Marshmallow
I
Man.
think.
Yes.
Yeah.
He'll be on
and
Vagina
there's probably
Ghostbusters.
going to be more. There's going to be surprises. This is going to be an awesome show. Check out the Bust Out the Cancer group page.
It's at the Elbowroom.
You'll see a lot of different GoFundMes. We're really trying to raise some funds to help fight cancer.
Yeah, and love each other. Just love each other. And Matt, I just want to thank you again for having me today, and Justice, who ate your house. You're a lovely person. And
You're a lovely person.
I consider.
And thank you for. We've been recording all day here.
I feel like it's been fun. I appreciate it. I'll do it anytime, and just keep doing what you're doing because it's important stuff.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you.